Hey, what's going on, everybody? It looks like the price of Theta and the whole crypto market is starting to take a turn to the downside. Don't worry, this is, we talked about this. This is part of the idea of the 1212 setup. And basically, we had two ideas here, right? We either have this being a Wyckoff accumulation range where this is coming down into the spring, right? But what we wanted to see, or actually, before I get there, one of the things we talked about is, if we break down, which we did, we want to see it come back up. If we come back up and reclaim it, then that's going to be a good long. If we come back up and we get rejected, then we're going to continue down. So that's basically, the pivot point of what, I was trying to explain is either, this is going to be a spring breakdown and reclaim, or we get rejected. And you can see the price actually, it came up here. It actually reclaimed it for a little bit. It held, and then it couldn't do it, and it came back down. So obviously that was a rejection, and the rejection was pretty deep that we even took out this wick here. So what's going on here? Is this the end of crypto? Is this time to panic? Is this the time to sell everything and admit defeat? Absolutely not. This is the time to start really paying attention, right? Like I said, the market is at an inflection point. And some of these altcoins needed to go down into their fifth waves, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're getting 5. And once we, start to establish a base here, that's when we want to see it continue back to the upside. Because remember, we're still incredibly bullish. Why? Well, if you zoom out, we have basically broken above the Wyckoff accumulation zone. And that's exactly what we talked about going back all the way last year in October. And basically ever since then, we've been sort of, battling this bull market support band. So breaking out, coming back, breaking out, coming back. And you can see we lost the bull market support band. That's typical when you have to come all the way back down and retest certain areas. So essentially what we have here is a golden opportunity potentially coming, right? And this is absolutely the most bullish situation you can get, right? Because here's the thing. It was either going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2. Then we get the third wave. So the fact that we're coming down, it's not confirmed yet. We want to get down in these levels, right? It could still technically be Wyckoff because we're bare. You see this wick here? We barely broke below it. So it could still technically be a spring. But the longer it takes, the further it goes down, the less likely that is. But that's okay, because if it's not a spring, then this is, this is what we've been talking about since this correction really started back here in March. Either it was going to be an ABC off the bull market support band, which it actually was. We had an ABC, and we started to build the base, right? That was bullish, building a base. But the problem is they don't always work out, especially when coins like Theta and everybody else has to depend on the dollar, the stock market, Bitcoin, right? There's a lot of variables. So Theta can show up to the party and say, hey, look, I'm ready to go. But, its counterparts might not show up. So the environment has to be perfect in order for things to sort of work out the way you think. As far as Bitcoin goes, we're going to get back to Theta, and I'm going to show you something interesting too. When you get back to Bitcoin, right, this is exactly what we, again, what we talked about, which is what? Getting back down in this level, right? And you can see that's exactly what's happening here. So Now, did I know it was going to get there? No. Was it probable that it was going to get there? Yes. Why? Because usually if you have a big correction like this, you get a rise, a crash, a retrace, and you usually come down into reaccumulation. So now this is the opportunity for Bitcoin to meet up, back up with the bull market support band, oscillate in here, build a reaccumulation base, and then blast off. So that's kind of the idea, right? Now, one of the other ideas, so basically it came down to three things that we talked about. Either this was going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have an ABC we flag out and then continue to go. Obviously that wasn't the case, but that's okay. The other idea was that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth wave was truncated, right? So then we get A, and then we get B, and then we come down for C, something like that. And essentially that's just a variant of the Wyckoff accumulation anyways. So we have this area in here, and then take off. That's basically the idea there. And then the other idea, it's the same thing, but it's just different. The way you count it is 1, 2, 3, and then we have a flat for wave 4. So A, B, C. Is that a flat? Let me see. I don't think that's a flat. Yeah, it is. It broke the top. So it is a flat. Okay. So that's bullish, right? We're getting an expanded flat here. So you guys, there's nothing, everybody's bearish, everybody feels the pain. The video I put out yesterday that I didn't get to put out because it didn't come out the way I wanted, basically explaining if we do break to the downside, you got to think about it as a golden opportunity, because most people are going to be very bearish, right? Especially when we go back to Theta, for example, right here, people were buying in this range, right? I'm going to, the psychology here. So let's say you were buying this range right here, and now the price broke below the range. How do you feel? Does it make you feel like you lost? Does it make you feel like, oh, I messed up? No. That if you feel like that, then you don't have the correct mindset of the bigger picture, right? So if you have $1,000 to spend over the course of a month or two or a couple of weeks or whatever the price may be, obviously you don't go in all that $1,000 on these spots here. But we did talk about how incredibly bullish it is to buy the bull market support band. So buying here, 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 and here. But you can see all of these buys right in here kind of got taken out by this low. But that's the whole point of it, right? In dollar cost averaging, you're not trying to pick a certain price. You're trying to get an average price. So the higher it is away from the bull market support band, the lower percentage you should put in. The further below you are the bull market support band, the higher percentage you should technically put in, right? This is not financial advice, by the way. This is just explaining, because I'll give you an example. You could see right here, we're below the bull market support band, right? These are all good buying opportunities, right? Now, I wouldn't buy it as you're going up into the bull market support band. I would rather wait until you break above it, then back test it. And you can see we don't get too far away from the bull market support band. So you can see right here, you're about, what is that, 30% away. And currently, where are we at from the bull market support band? Yeah, about 26% away. So that's usually, between that 10 to 30% mark. Let's see what this one is here. 40%, right? So it could be pretty big. But the thing is, where are you according to the phases, right? Are you in the beginning of a bear market as you're coming down, right? We know that we already built our base here. This was a Wyckoff base. We broke out of the base. So that is in itself incredibly bullish. So now what we want to see, right? We broke out, and this is one of the things when we, you can go back and check the videos back in February and even in March saying, hey, look, we broke out. Now there's always a chance we can come all the way back down and back test the top of this breakout level. Now, sometimes it doesn't need to do that. Sometimes you can consolidate above it. But in this case, it looks like that's what we're going to get. And if that's what we're going to get, right, if that's what we could have gotten, right, because, we've been talking about it for a while. We didn't know it was going to happen, but you plan just in case it does. So then when you get down here, right, the smart thing to do would be to set some money aside. So like, let's say, you worked in, obviously you probably have a job you work all the time, but all the times you worked in March and April and May, right? So you set a little bit of money aside and, try to play it out to, basically average out those entries. So now that we get down here, if we get down here, right, because we could still, stall out somewhere in between, and I would actually expect a little bit of a bounce coming soon. It looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, it looks like 3, or maybe 3's not finished, then we come up for 4, and then we come back down for 5. So yeah, between $1, I would say really between $1.10 to $1.50. So it's quite a big area, but we just don't really know exactly where you're going to come on down. Now the Fibonacci retracement has already gotten to the 618, and now the next stop is at $1.54. So if you don't know anything about anything, the best thing to do is just put your Fibonacci retracement up. Say you get to the 50% line, right? Divide up your entries, right? So you put 50% or whatever of that set amount in, and then as you continue to go down to the 618, increase it a little bit, go down to the 702, increase it a little bit more, right? Go down to the 786 and, continue. The buys should be getting bigger, not smaller, right? But if you bought too much in this range, then you don't have enough extra spending cash to put down on these levels. That's why you always, and I've made that mistake many times. If you made that mistake, it's not a big deal. It's, basically where you get too ahead of yourself, you get too excited, right? And you feel like it's going to come very quick, and you FOMO and you kind of buy too much at one time. Everybody's done it. I'm sure many people have done it. I've done it many, many, many times, right? But over time, you'll start to figure out, hey, maybe it's best. Yes, it is very bullish. We had a big ABC correction. We dropped 55% and we hit the bull market support band. We went sideways here. This was an incredible buying opportunity, right? For dollar cost average. But going all in on that one spot, and then if we fall below, you don't have enough money to then spend on a lower price, it kind of defeated the purpose. So dollar cost averaging literally means figure out how much you make a month, then minus all your expenses, like your mortgage, your rent, your utility bills, your phone, your insurance, right? I mean, we pretty much get killed with inflation and all the overpriced, inflated items. When you even talking about electricity, right? We're going into the summer months. Think about how much that costs, right? So people have limited expenditure cash they can really put out into the market, let alone trying to buy groceries and fill up your car and basic needs like that. And that's the whole thing about crypto. For me, it's as a long-term investment, right? even though it's a long-term investment, I still highly believe that this thing is not finished, not even close. I still want to see it get back towards the retracement levels. So let me just put that up here, right? So just a real quick recap. Ever since making videos right about there in October, when it was about 64 cents, basically the entire objective is to get back up into the retracement levels. Now, we almost made it, but we didn't quite make it. Now, here's the thing. Total 3 did make it. So if Total 3 made it, and a lot of coins are still basically in their range. So the fact that Theta broke out of its range is bullish in itself, right? Because if you look at many other coins, they're still way below the range. So that's a very good accomplishment in my mind, and that shows strength. And that's basically the market showing its hand. That first sort of that first move where you know some coins went up 10%, some coins go up 15%, 20%, or whatever the case may be on that first wave, right? Just as an example, it actually went up way higher than that. It was like, what was it? From this first wave here. So just measure the bottom all the way to the top. That's about 565%, right? And you compare that to other coins, Theta is actually one of the leaders. So you can say, yeah, but what does it matter now? Well, the thing is once you get that pullback or that back test, then the next move should be even bigger, right? Because you look at all the coins and look at which ones made the big strong move, and then which one had a reasonable pullback. That's the one you wanted to do, right? So for me, one of the mistakes I made was, like, for example, Solana. Solana had one of the biggest bull runs, right? This is Theta, by the way, but Solana had a big bull run. So my thinking was, okay, that showed an incredible amount of strength. So in the bear market, I'm going to go ahead and buy Solana. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do that. But looking back, that would have been a great idea, because if you look at Solana now, it's actually way up in its retracement levels. But there's also a flip side to that, because coins that haven't made it to their retracement levels still have a lot more making up to do. And since since we've been having this correction, eventually we're going to bottom out and we're going to continue moving to the upside. So what I'm looking at here is, this is a 3-wave move. It's a flat. This is wave 1. This is a flat, a 2. This is another wave, and this is an A, B, and a C. So if we get down here, right, that could qualify as a big 1, 2, 1, 2. And not only it would be a 1, 2, 1, 2, but we would also confirm the breakout by backtesting this area. Not only that, you could potentially also build more support, right? So here's your base, you break out, you come down to the top of the base, and then you build another base, and then that gives you another platform to push off of. So we'll see how it plays out. Again, like I've been saying, we're going into the summer months. It's a hit or a miss. Either we're going to break out and get that 5th wave, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then summer is here, and then you have that lag during summer until you get to like October, November, December. Then you start to pump again. Obviously, we couldn't get it done in time before that summer, before summer really hits, right? So it looks like to me, we're in the middle of June here, so we're gonna get down in here. And it's probably going to be July, probably play around a little bit more. And then once we get towards September, October, I think that's when we really start to accelerate big time, and especially after Halloween. So after Halloween and into Christmas, going into next spring, is going to be, in my opinion, incredibly bullish. Why? Because we spent all this time correcting, consolidating, accumulating, backtesting, base building, testing the bull market support band, right? And then once that plays out, I think we're going to get much higher prices to see. Now, we always have to talk about worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is we have a big stock market crash or something, some sort of black swan event, right? It's the election year. We got Joe Biden and Trump, right? I think Joe Biden ain't going to be president. I think they're going to switch him out with another candidate to run against Trump, but I don't think it's going to work. But whatever the case may be, they're going to try something, right? Maybe it's a cyber attack. Maybe it's a terrorist attack. Maybe it's a financial banking system sort of hack, or who knows? It could be any type of situation that causes the market to die, or not die, but actually go down and really feel that pain, right? People have been talking about it, so maybe that happens. If that sort of situation happens, it doesn't mean that, well, Theta just failed. No, we had a global, worldwide liquidation event, just like back over here, like C19. Now, if that happened, it would be very fast, just like C19, and very, out of the ordinary. So, essentially, what that would look like is be very hard to know, but obviously you have this move up, this move back, or move down, move back up. You'd probably get something very fast that takes out the low, but then it would just continue to pump like that, right? Similar to what Bitcoin did. You can see exactly what happened to Bitcoin, right? We had that first move up, the move down, and then think about Theta, right? It just went up, right? Theta broke to the upside, and now it's correcting, and then bam, it broke below. So, if it starts to climb back up, and then bam, it has one more final flush, and then it went to the upside. So if I translate that to Theta, just hypothetical, this is not, anything to take serious, but hypothetically, we could get something that happens very fast. Now, I'm not even going to pretend to know what that looks like. I'm just here to say, if that does happen, I'm not going to be shaken out of my position, right? Because a lot of people got shaken out back in 2020, and that was actually the best time to buy and the worst time to panic. So, again, election year, they're going to try to scare us. They're going to try to do something, right? They're going to try to make you feel like you've lost. And that is the market maker way of shaking you out of your position so that they can build liquidity, right? But I'm just letting you know, that would be the worst mistake you could do. Not financial advice, right? So, if there's no black swan, if there's no crazy thing that happens this year, I can't imagine there isn't. We should be, from a technical perspective, well on our way back to the upside, right? So again, we built our base. We have a wave 1, we have a wave 2, we have a wave 3, we have a wave 4, right? And this could turn in again to a 1-2, 1-2. So what I'm going to be doing is keeping an eye on Bitcoin and seeing exactly where she's going to go, because wherever Bitcoin bottoms out at is most likely where everybody else is going to bottom out at. So we could have technically already bottomed out. That's the thing. We do have we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have a 5-wave move down. So this could be A, and then we have B, and then C, right? So it could technically be finished, right? So, I mean, any place or really anywhere in this level is actually a good buying opportunity. Now, same thing for Theta. We don't really know where the low is going to be, but in my opinion, anywhere. See, with Theta, we're still quite a ways away from this $1.43 area, and when I extend that out, it's really like $1.32. So those are kind of the three areas I would look for: about $1.20, $1.30, and $1.50, around that level. Now, what about $1.65? Is now a good time to buy? Obviously, any time is a good time, right? Especially when you're a long-term hodler. But since we've already fell this much, I would actually wait, right, for some kind of base to get built. So a lot of times when you're falling, you'll get a quick bounce up, everybody gets bullish, they buy, and then it just falls again. So kind of wait for something like this to form, where you can start to see a bottom, a higher low, maybe a higher high, right, a three-way pullback, something like that. And that would be a good time to buy, because these falls, right, they can easily just continue to bleed down. So yeah, I would just wait for some kind of bottom to form in here instead of basically nothing. Because when I flip this chart upside down, right, when I flip it upside down, it actually looks like it might need somewhat of a pullback here before heading down. So definitely next week is going to be an interesting time. And also the Ripple lawsuit, according to Brad, should end up resulting in a conclusion, he said, sometime this summer. So the end of summer is actually my birthday. Is exactly the last day of summer is I think that's my birthday. So September 21st, that's still quite a ways away. So, a lot can happen between now and then. But anyway, let's get back to Bitcoin here. And then I'm going to talk about Total 3, because Total 3 is still technically holding nicely, still above the bull market support band. It's actually kind of lost it a little bit, but not too bad, right? Because here's the thing. A lot of times, right, they know we're all looking at the same kind of situation, the same fractal, the same setup. So what they kind of do, right, is they'll break it lower than the actual fractal itself, get everybody bearish, everybody goes short, and then they take it right back up. So there's a lot of deception in here, right? Especially when you break below a level. Obviously, most people say, okay, the next level is down here. We're going to come down and back test this level. But sometimes, right, they'll bring it down. Everybody's waiting for that level. But what they really did is just take out this low here, right? They just took out that low there, grab the liquidity, and then take it back up. When most people thought, hey, we're going to break that low and keep going down so that we could back test this level. But they kind of do it mid-flight, right? So, nothing's ever perfect. That's why we want to use Fibonacci as well. So if I take a trend-based extension here, and I put it here, and then I drag it back up, those would be some of our levels. The level that I like, we really haven't even made it down, to the 50% level since this high. So, that's kind of where I'm thinking here, is in this golden zone. So somewhere between now, or somewhere between here and here would be my guess as to when they start to flip this chart back bullish again. Now, if we break that, then we can say, okay, now we're coming down here to backtest. So, make sure you hit subscribe and don't, turn those notifications on, because I'm going to be updating as this wave develops. And if you don't want to miss it, sort of the next possible thing that can happen, make sure you hit that subscribe. Now, nobody's perfect. This is my interpretation of what I see, and what I've seen so far is really matching up with our fractal here, right? And when we turn that on so we can see it, it was actually the first wave. So here's the bottom, here's that first wave, here's that big first correction, right? It's the same thing here. Here's the bottom, here's that first wave, here's our, our correction. So when we match that up, now I won't lie, this move here was way more bullish. We went way higher than what we're doing now, right? This sort of move has been less impressive as to what happened last time. You can see just how massive this thing pumped from down here all the way up here. That was a really huge wave. And then it was so powerful that we really didn't even backtest the bull market support band. Now, when you compare that to this one, it's still very powerful, but it's really not the same, especially because we didn't have that big capitulation at the end. So when I put this up, technically, guys, we are still literally on the cusp of this thing happening. So when I look at Theta and I say $1.65, that might be a good buy, right? Because if this fractal plays out, I'm not saying it will, but it's really, really close. This is exactly where the fractal should be, right? Let me turn the color up a little bit. This is exactly where the price should be. So who knows? We might look back 6 months from now and say the weekend, Friday, June 14th, or the weekend of the mid-June, right, was actually one of the best places to buy. And it was all there. The fractal showed it. We had Wyckoff structures, right? When I look at ADA, just to switch gears a little bit, and you can say, well, this also is creating a Wyckoff structure again. And one of the things I said was either this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or this is going to be a three-way pullback with a Wyckoff zone. So here's your zone here. And look at that. We barely broke the low. So this looks more primed for a Wyckoff event, right? We barely broke the low. We only have a couple candles closing below. It's not too extended, right? So this has a lot of power, to make people bearish, because what people are seeing here is, oh, this is like a shoulder, or this is like an M pattern. It looks bearish. It's going to crash, right? And we're also coming off of a crash, right? So people say, okay, I'm going to wait a little bit. So here's your support line here, and now we're breaking below that support line. What do people think? Oh no, we're going lower. I knew I should have sold. Sell, 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 sell. I'm going to go short. Everybody's stop loss here got triggered, right? So look at the price. It's not really falling like you would think. It's kind of just hovering there, making you feel uncomfortable. That's the key word of today, is making you feel uncomfortable, right? Sort of that itch inside your brain that you cannot itch. That's kind of what they do. They make you feel like, I don't know what to do. I feel, and that's kind of why you have to think about why you're here in the first place. Remember, crypto is at the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of its long future ahead of itself, right? I mean, if you believe we live in a central banking fiat currency corrupt system that is slowly degrading and it's clunky and it doesn't work and we're dealing with all the Swift system, if you think about what blockchain is and all of the applications that it can do to make our lives better, especially in the world of finance, right, and streaming and whatever, then you're in the right place, right? Especially when you have a monetary system that the people who are controlling that system are basically driving it into the ground. And once that really starts to show all the cracks and the destruction, which it's already doing now, people are going to look to alternatives, right? And luckily for us, we're at the beginning of people realizing just how screwed they have been by holding cash and not having invested into gold, into silver, into crypto, into hard assets, commodities, digital assets, right? Instead of holding cash, not to say you shouldn't hold cash, because I think everybody should hold cash. But yeah, that's it. You know, if that's your philosophy, because I know that's my philosophy, is becoming my own, right? You want to bet against the debt, become your own central bank, right? Then these little bumps in the road, these little crashes here, you might look at, and that's one of the things too. Stop looking at your portfolio valued in dollars. Instead of saying, man, all I have is, $5,000, you should say, I'm so grateful that I have 3,500 Theta tokens, right? Or something like that. So people often look at this price, right? If you have 3,500 Theta tokens and it's $1.65, it's valued at $5,775. So people look at that and they say, oh man, just a little while ago, I had, almost 7,000, and now I have less than 6,000. If that's obvious, it's the right way to think about protecting your wealth and things like that. But if your horizon is, the perspective of the crypto market is we're at the beginning of this big thing happening. First of all, the way we know that is we just got the crypto bill signed. It still needs to go through the Senate, and then the White House needs to sign it. We don't even have real regulations yet, right? Think about the stock market. The stock market just came out, right? And a couple things are trading, but there's no real regulation. I mean, you're so far in the beginning, it's crazy. So, figuring out which coins are going to survive, the utility age that we're going to be heading into, right? And I think we're heading into that already now. Then this price here shouldn't really matter to you at all, right? So my thing is, don't worry about what your coins are valued at. Worried about how many coins you have, right? So instead of saying, all I have is $5,000, say, oh wow, I have 3,500 in Theta, right? So I don't care what my Theta is valued in, right? I don't care if it's what the US dollar is denominated in, or like I don't care how much my Bitcoin is denominated in dollars, because I know that we're still at that early phase. And the way we know this, again, is you just go to any chart here, right, and look at it. We barely have any price data here, right? You compare that to something like Amazon. Remember, Amazon spent almost 8 years below its all-time high before it really broke out and it showcased what it really had, right? So the people who are investing into Amazon stock, they knew, right? Or maybe some of them didn't know, but some people who did their homework knew that this company could be something huge, right? So they didn't really care that the price came down or the price never broke above the all-time high, right? When we look at, for example, XRP, and this one really has tested people's patience for sure, right? And what Amazon did, I'll just give you an example. It came up, it tried to do it, it came back down, it failed, and then it did this, and then it eventually broke out like that. And then from there, it just went completely insane. It just continued to go. And what we had is a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout, right? So when we look at, we go back to Theta, this could be the retracement, right? So we have a rise, we have a crash. Let's see if we go up into a retracement. Then we kind of go sideways here into reaccumulation. Then we break out. Think about how many more paychecks you're going to get from now until then, right? Or if you're on Social Security, or if you, whatever you can afford, right? In the next however long it takes, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if we do go into reaccumulation, think of that as sort of a blessing in disguise. Because the first time I bought Bitcoin, if I had my wish come true, I would have been broke. And you say, well, what do you mean? Because think about it. Everybody who buys Bitcoin or crypto, what do they want? They want the price to go up instantly after they bought it. But if it did that, then you would have a small bag, right? And people say, oh, well, my bags are packed. No, don't ever, 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 ever say your bags are packed. When people say that, they're basically setting themselves up for failure. Your bags are never packed. Your bags have, do you think like Mark Cuban or Shark Tank, those billionaire, millionaire, do you think they're saying, oh, my bags are packed? No, there's always room for your bag, right? So if you, for example, bought $1,000 here and then the price goes up, yeah, you made great money. But if it kept going up, you wouldn't really have made a lot. Versus if you bought some here, you bought some here, you bought some here, you bought some here, then the price comes up, right? And you go, okay, my bags are packed. And then you go up and you say, yeah, I made a great amount of money. Versus, right? Now fast forward, 10, 20 years from now, you're going to wish that it didn't do that. You're going to wish that it came down and you bought here, bought here, bought here, bought here, right? Buy. And once you think your bags are packed, you want to continue to pack them. And then it comes up. Then when you get up here, right, this guy is up here. This guy is up here. This guy took a little bit longer than this guy, but this guy has so much more to show for it. Why? Because everybody has a job. Everybody gets paid once a week, twice a month, right? Maybe once a month, whatever your paycheck deal is. And people take a percentage of their paycheck and they put it into crypto. Maybe once a month, maybe once every couple months, maybe once a week, whatever the case may be. Over time, right? Month after month after month after month after year after year after year, right? And you could say, well, I want to be rich now. If you want to really, really be retired with generational wealth, then you need to pack your bags more than you think, right? Because if you want this newfound of wealth to last you your entire life, you're going to need more than you really think, right? Some people say, well, if Theta gets to $30 or $40 and I have this amount of Theta, then I'll be at, $2 million and I'll be fine. I'll be good, right? That's how people think. They say, I'm fine. All I have to do is wait. But a lot of times things don't go according to plan. And a lot of times, the same thing how you dollar cost average down here, you're also dollar cost averaging on the way up. So sell a little bit there, sell a little bit there, sell a little bit there. So basically your sells become averaged out as opposed to waiting for an exact top to sell your bags, right? So this opens up a whole nother discussion of investing and psychology, and I'm going to talk more about this. Comment below if you sort of like this topic and you want me to explore it further, especially figuring out, your exit plan and really becoming self-sufficient, right? Because what is your dream? What do you want more than anything? You want to be free, right? That's what people want, is freedom, time freedom, the ability to go anywhere in the world at any time with your family, right? The amount of time you spend at work is time that you're missing out with your family. The amount of time that you spend working for paper is time that you're wasting away. Now, everybody has to do it, right? But do you really want to do it until you're in your 60s and 70s? Maybe some of you already have done that, right? And you're already retired. If you're retired, you still have an amazing opportunity for a newfound wealth, right? Now, everybody's financial situation is different, and I get that, but an average guy, right, who's making an average salary, right, depending on your expenses, you have the ability to become a millionaire. And I'm not just saying that just to say that. I'm literally saying that because it's true. Now, you might think it's impossible to be a millionaire, right? It's impossible because I don't have enough, like we're talking about Theta, but it could be XRP, it could be Bitcoin, it could be Matic, it could be Solana, whatever the coin you hold, maybe it's a variety of all your coins, right? And that's why I say don't buy too many coins. If you have more than 10 coins, that's just way too much to manage. And what you do is you spread yourself too thin, right? Obviously, if you're making, 80,000 a year, 100,000 a year, then yeah, maybe you can have 10 coins. But I would say for the most of us, myself included, right, we're more in that, between that $30,000 to $50,000 salary threshold. You really only need, 3 or 4 tokens that are strong, right? That way you can consolidate your bags into a better position, right? Now, you still want to be diversified and all that stuff. But again, even if you're making 30, 40,000 a year, if you invest into crypto, depending when you get in, right? I don't know how long you've been in or whatever, but let's say you've been buying now for, the last year or two, I would say you're already, 30, 40% there. So that's why I say be careful what you wish for. If let's say however much you bought in crypto, if the price comes down in backtest and then it goes to the moon, then you really don't have much time to buy, right? The same thing with Bitcoin here. I'll give you an example. Let's say John bought Bitcoin here, and then the price went up, and then he's like, yay, I'm happy, right? But another guy, right, let's say Tom, he bought a little bit here, little bit here, a little bit here, and he kept buying in here, buying in here, buying everywhere, right? And then by the time it got up here, he had way more than the other guy, right? So if you buy and the price goes up, that's not good. And you can say, well, wait a minute, that's what you want. No, what you want is to buy, the price continue to go sideways, buy a little bit more, go sideways, buy a little bit more. The more buys you can do over the course of, let's say, 3 to 4 years, just continuing to buy. right? You don't care what the price is doing. You're just taking a piece of your paycheck and you're putting into crypto. Now, it's got to be provided that the price is not in a massive bull run. It's got to be in a bear market, right? So think about here. You buy a little bit here, 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 and you go, okay, my bags are packed. I'm ready to go. But you're not thinking big enough, right? You're never truly ready to go, right? So the thing is, a lot of people can't, nobody can control the market. So if you have all these buys and then the market goes, and then let's say you made a good amount of money, right? Let's say you made $50, $60, $70,000, or maybe it was 10,000. Whatever the amount is, it doesn't matter. The point is the percentages that you made was very, very good, right? So you take profit, and then see, this is what people don't understand. They say, oh, I can never be a millionaire in crypto. No, you can. It's just, it might take a couple cycles, right? You will get to that $1 million threshold if you just do it the way you've been doing it, right? Don't sell when you're not above the all-time high. So I'll go back to Theta for this example. Or actually, let's go to total 3 here. And you can say, well, why am I talking about this? This is not really analysis. This is kind of what I was saying yesterday. I could still put the video out, but I'd rather just consolidate it. Maybe I might put it out tomorrow, since I'm not going to do a video anyway. But essentially, if you're buying in here, the price goes up. When the price moves, you don't buy. If it comes back down in a backtest, keep buying. Price breaks out, you're good, right? And then you start to sell. And then you never sell all of it, but at least 60 to 70% of it, right? And then we go into another bear market. Now, you take all of that money that you just made and don't splurge. Here's the thing. The best way to be a millionaire, right? And I'm not a millionaire, by the way. This is what I've read, probably at least 13 to 15 different books about investor psychology and things like that. I know quite a bit of people that have real life success stories. Now, for me, I haven't been doing it as long as they have, but as far as my trading, my hodling, and my investing, this is kind of how I'm doing, and this is kind of what I'm sharing with you. Basically the road to become self-sufficient, the road to become rich, the road to become, retire, the road to become time freedom, right? What basically the most valuable asset you have on planet Earth is time, and how you spend that time is really up to you, right? But if you have a nice stack of wealth, then you can spend it however you want, right? Even that, if it's just being home, sitting on the couch, watching TV all day, right? If that's what you want to do, hey, I like doing that too. But essentially, like let's take someone who makes minimum wage, someone who might have an apartment, or somebody who's on the lower end of situations. And if that's you, don't feel bad at all, because we all got to start somewhere. That's why I love crypto so much, because it can change so many lives, but it can also take lives too, right? Especially if you mess with things you're not supposed to mess with, the forbidden fruit, right? Sort of that venom, right? The leverage, right? If you mess with leverage, you can basically lose everything. But anyways, you're buying, you're selling, you get up here. And then now you have a nice stack. Now some people can go and pay their house off. Some people can go and buy a new car, or finish, or maybe put somebody through school, What I'm telling you is to do nothing. Basically, take that cash and just hold it, and let the bear market play out. Once the bear market is over, it's going to create a base like it did right over here and over here. And what you're going to do is now all the money that all your paychecks that you made, right? You didn't buy. So basically you're putting it all inside of a big pot, right? And by the time you get down here, you're not only going to have all the paychecks, right, that you made from your job set aside. Maybe it's 1%, maybe it's 5%, maybe it's 10%, whatever the case may be. But you're also going to have all the profits you made from the prior bull run, because most people aren't going to do this. Most people are going to make their money and they're going to go buy a car, right? Maybe they blow it all on a Ferrari, and that would be the dumbest thing you can possibly do. But most people they just can't help themselves, right? They just want to splurge, and not saying don't treat yourself, but understand that what you just made in this cycle is now you can use that as ammunition, as a weapon for your next cycle, right? So it might take you 10 years to do this. But what else are you going to do in that meantime? Everybody goes to work, everybody comes home, everybody goes back to work, everybody wakes up, everybody goes to sleep, everybody, you're going to do that anyways. So you might as well plan for this sort of change that your life is going to do. Now, here's the big thing. It's all about patience. If people are running out of patience now, then they're definitely not going to make this sort of 3 cycles. And legitimately, now depending how much money you make, it's going to take 3 cycles. It's going to take 3 cycles, and once that 3rd cycle is over, I really, really believe you will be retired and you'll be living the life you've always wanted to live. Now, that doesn't mean, extravagant, oh my God, multi-million dollar status. That just means, you're living a nice, comfortable life without having to work anymore, right? Or maybe you like to work. Maybe that's your passion, right? But whatever the case may be, most people don't like what they do at their jobs. Most people want to do what they want to do. So, however that plays out is however it plays out. But, if you're thinking about, man, I'm looking at my crypto bag and it's not that big, and I wish I had more crypto, and I wish I made more money, and I wish I got in sooner, right? Those are things that everybody feels. But here's what I'll say is the longer you do this, right? And a lot of people don't like to continue to invest because then they feel like there's too much money inside of crypto and they feel too emotionally involved that something can go wrong. So, but that's the thing. This strategy, not financial advice, but it's only for people who have 100% conviction that crypto is going to succeed like no other, right? It's a brand new asset class. It's basically, we don't even have the 401ks in it. We don't even have the big institutions in it. We barely just got a Bitcoin ETF. Just think about one of the altcoin ETFs. So just, we're at the beginning of the beginning. So, I think, the next, 10 years of your life, right? Maybe that's it, right? This cycle and you're retired. That's it. You're ready to go. But for, I would say most of us, you probably need another cycle or maybe 2 cycles more, right? So, just to summarize real fast, buying in here all throughout this base as much as you can, right? Then the kickoff gets started. You don't really buy as much unless we pull down, which we did, right? Or which we're doing now. So buy, right? You get up here, right? Maybe it might take longer than that, What if this is, again, rise, crash, retrace? Here's the thing. If we go down into reaccumulation, it's actually going to benefit you. See, here's another thing. Most people, right, including myself, we just want the market to go. My bags are packed. I'm ready to go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I don't want to waste any more time. But if, some people are ready, but other people, and I would say even you might think your bags are packed, right? So if we just went up from here, let's say you make 10 grand. But if we went down here and you were able to buy for the next 6 months, and then we went up, now you made 30 grand, right? Or you made 40 grand, or whatever the case may be. So when you have these long sideways range, the trick to being rich and successful is to buy and accumulate these ranges and hope that they last a long time, right? You want these ranges to be long so that you can the more paychecks you make, right? The more hours you work, the more you can invest. The more you can invest, the more coins you have. The more coins you have, the less of a price target you need, right? Because you think about Theta. Well, I need $100 Theta to be a millionaire or something like that. Well, now, since you've spent another 6 months, now you only need $50 Theta, right? And then if you do it again, let's say you pop up and it goes to $50, and then it comes down for a bear market again, and then you build another base, right? You take all those profits and you continue to buy that base, right? And then once that one goes up, let's say it goes up to $100, $150, right? Now you have even 3 to 4 to 5 times the amount that you never thought you had, right? And I just go back to some people who bought here and then it went up and they felt like they won, versus somebody who bought over here. Like, let's say someone buys right there, just started buying, versus someone buying right here. Now, the person right here is going to feel like a genius. The person right here is going to feel like an idiot. But guess who's going to make more money? This guy over here. Why? Because he had more time to accumulate. So that's all I'm saying, is that this video is to let you know that if we do crash, look at it as the best thing that has ever happened. Everybody's going to be mad. Everybody's going to be like, my portfolio's down. It's gotten beat up. Yeah, but if it never crashed, you would have never been able to spend even more time. You can say, well, I ran out of money. I don't have any money. But okay, that's fine. Most people spent their money as well. But here's the thing, you dollar cost average. And here's another thing. If we go down and we spend time down there, let's say a couple weeks, right? Maybe a couple months, right? How many paychecks are you going to make? Now, again, it's all dependent on how much you can save each month. Everybody has bills. Most people are on a fixed income, right? So, and with inflation going higher, it takes, you're having to spend more money, which means you can spend less money on crypto, right? So if you're spending less money on crypto, then you're going to need more time. So why is everybody in a rush for crypto to go higher, right? It's either you want to make a quick 50, 100 grand or whatever, or maybe whatever the amount is, versus making a generational amount, right? Because here's another way you can play it, right? If we get up here and let's say you made $50,000, well, you can sell, and now you put $40,000 away, and that other $10,000 you can either live off it or reinvest it back down when we correct. We just don't know when that's going to be. So I'm going to talk more about this as time goes on. But I'm just letting you know, like, don't look at crypto like, hey, this is my exit ticket that's going to happen next year or next month or next 2 years. If you think that way, then, because when you're in crypto for life. Crypto is like a blood gang, right? Once you are in crypto, you are in for life. That is it. You cannot escape. You cannot leave. Once you're in, you cannot leave, right? So, and who would want to leave, right? Especially if you've been in so early, right? So just to wrap everything up here, and I'm already over an hour, and it's more of a rant video. It's just me ranting, just some guy on the internet giving his opinion. I could be totally wrong. It could be the absolute worst strategy in the world. But in my opinion, if you believe in crypto and you have conviction in it in the future, then buying as much as you're able to buy during the time that we're given gives you the advantage over most people, right? And let's say you've been buying for 2 years and now you start to feel uncomfortable, like, man, I've been buying for 2 years, my investment hasn't really played out yet, I'm still kind of flat, maybe down, maybe up slightly, I don't feel comfortable with putting more money in. And I get that, I've been there, I felt that. But here's the thing, you have to, again, realize where crypto is eventually going. Yes, I mean, just go to the Amazon chart. Go to pick any stock, successful company, right? Apple, Google, Amazon, any of them. They've been in bad situations where they have gone sideways. There have been bear markets. There's been a lot of uncertainty. I mean, look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has stood the test of time from its creation. Bear market after bear market, everybody gets shaken out. It crashes 65, 75%, and it feels like the world is ending, but then bam, it goes right back up. And that's just the way it is. And you know why? Because people are taking advantage of when price comes down. And all I'm saying is we should do that too, right? So remove time from your head. We all want to be retired. We all don't want to go to work. We all want to be, living at home, doing what we want to do. But at the end of the day, the fastest way we can get there is by being smart with your money, right? Maybe, cut back on certain expenses that you have in your daily life and put more of that towards your investments, right? Your investments are your vehicles for your financial freedom. Now, when I say financial freedom, that doesn't mean endless amounts of money of the world. That just means being able to live happily, comfortably from now until you die. And you can pass that generational wealth down to your kids and grandkids. Now, just because you're rich and you've already made it and you're already retired doesn't mean you can't continue to invest more and more and more, right? Now, when to invest is really comes down to the charts, right? Again, you have bull markets, which you should never invest. You have bear markets, which you should always wait. And then you have the base, right? This is the best time to buy down in here, right? It's not going to feel good. Everybody's going to say, no, we're going lower. But if it's me, I'm like, good. If we go lower, that's great. I'm happy, right? Now we got the big breakout. I wouldn't probably buy as much, depending on where your altcoin is. Right now, compared to this chart, it's pretty high, right? So if we get an ABC pullback, maybe buy a little bit more. Once we break the all-time high, the buying stops and you just kind of wait and let it continue. Maybe sell, and then you have the top, and now you're in the bear market, right? You're sitting on a bunch of cash. You're being very conservative. You're waiting, and then the bear market ends, right? And then you develop another base, and then you're buy, and then you just keep rinsing that and repeating that. Maybe it might take 2 cycles, 3 cycles, 4 cycles. Maybe it might take 5 or 10 cycles, but the time is going to go by anyway, so you might as well do it. and your grandkids are going to thank you for that. Your kids are going to thank you. Your wife, your husband's going to thank you for that, right? Think about how awesome it would be to go and call your wife or your girlfriend or your husband or whoever you live with and tell that person, say, hey, call your boss and tell them you quit. They'll say, what are you talking about? No. Tell them, call your boss and tell them you quit. And then she'll say, no, I can't quit. What are you talking about? We need this job. And say, no, you don't need this job anymore. I'm retiring you. You're retired. You don't have to work. Right? Think about how awesome that would feel, that you were able to do that. No other man was able to do that, right? No other woman or whoever was able to. You were able to do that. Why? Because you're smart and you're disciplined. It takes discipline. Discipline. Think about the Karate Kid, right? It's a simple, funny movie, but you lack discipline. And it's all about, he didn't understand why he had to wax the car, but he didn't understand. This is not teaching me anything, right? And the same thing with investing. It's not doing anything. You don't have any immediate effects. But over time, cycle after cycle after cycle, right? It's going to build and build. And you might think, oh, well, I'm late to the party. Bitcoin's almost at 100K. The altcoins are, at 6. My response to that is no. The altcoins are barely at $600 billion market cap. I mean, if we're looking down the barrel of a gun of a 5 or $10 trillion, even higher than that over time, think about how small we are compared to where we're going. And that's all I'm here to say. So anyways, guys, that'll do it for this video. Again, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, let me get to Bitcoin real quick on the small time frame. Let me remove all this, and I'm going to go to the 1 hour chart. I'm actually going to go to the 8 hour chart. It looks like exactly what we thought was going to happen. We're going to come right down in here, right? This is exactly sort of what we anticipated here, which is basically backtesting this range, going into reaccumulation. So I'm going to put this line like this. So we really don't have much time here to reaccumulate without losing the bull market support band. We don't want to lose the bull market support band. So I would say right in this area, it doesn't matter what chart you're looking at, right? Because if Bitcoin starts to stall right here, it starts to come back up, maybe it might take the low out and then come back up. Whatever the case may be, I think we're getting very close to a very good reversal. But we had to do what? Go into reaccumulation, right? We could have easily flagged out and busted a move, right? Or we can actually do an ABC and then bust a move. But at the end of the day, it's more so being in that middle line, that conservative line of reaccumulation. So this is the big level. This is coming down to the big inflection point, right? I mean, a lot of altcoins already showed their hand. I haven't even looked at the rest of them yet, but you can see they're starting to break below their ranges here. Again, when we look at Theta, this could be a Wyckoff, where we've showed this many times here, right? Where we have this price movement, right? We come back up. We have 1, 2, 3, spring, liquidity grab, go. Same thing here. 1, 2, 3, spring. Maybe we get a liquidity grab and we go. It's the same kind of thing. If not, then it's going to be a fifth wave, and we're going to most likely come down and backtest. I mean, we're so close. I mean, we're right there, right? We're only approximately 15%, or no, really 12% away, up between, I would say between 10 and 30% away, depending how bad it's going to get. Now, if it's going to be bad, then that's actually, again, a good thing. If we can get a big capitulation, then we can wipe out all the leveraged longs, right? And after a big dump, that's usually when the big pump starts. And after that, we're going to see, some follow through. So let's get this dump out of the way. And this is be our buying opportunity right in here. So we're already there. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, if we continue to go lower, then we really got to pay attention to this low in here, right? Because a lot of times crypto likes to overshoot. It makes you think it's done and then it keeps going, right? So then I just zoom out and say, what do we know on the bigger picture here? If you're in crypto, depending on what your goals are, have at least a 5 to 10 year span. And I'm not saying it's going to take 5 to 10 years for Theta to break out and you to be, your investment to work out. I think it's going to happen as soon as we finish back testing here and continue up on our retracements, right? We still have our retracement levels. Once we break the all-time high, that's when we go into price discovery. Once we do that, that's when it's going to be awesome, and you're going to see your portfolios go absolutely insane, right? So hopefully that takes a little bit more time. And why do I say that? Because then it allows you to accumulate more. And you can say, well, I already have enough. And well, maybe you do, but at the end of the day, nobody really ever has truly enough, right? Especially when we're talking about crypto here. So anyways, guys, that'll do it for this video. I'm still expecting price to get up into this retracement level. We might have a deeper correction like what we've been talking about here, but eventually it's going to start reversing back to the upside. Now, if we have a big black swan event and it takes out all these lows, then in my opinion, it's going to be even a better buying opportunity, because you cannot stop, things like gold, silver, crypto, because no matter how much you beat them down, because that's what the deep state wants. They want to destroy crypto. They want to destroy sentiment so that you don't touch it with a 10-foot pole, right? So the further they can knock crypto down, the further that they can push it down, they're actually benefiting you, because it's like trying to hold a life jacket underwater. It's going to keep pushing itself back up. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying, if the worst scenario happened, in 5 years from now, it's actually going to be the best possible thing that could have ever happened. You know what I mean? But nobody wants to endure that until it actually occurs. We officially broke the range, and we do have a nice three-wave shape. 1, 2, 3. So is that three-wave shape going to get a little bit further? Maybe, maybe not. But in my opinion, not financial advice, anywhere in here is good places to dollar cost average. So that's all I'm saying. I will catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and let me know what you think. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.